Hello YouTube! I made it out to see SpongeBob SquarePants, The Search for SquarePants, the new SpongeBob movie. I had a good time with it. So let's discuss. So the movie opens up with SpongeBob trying to be a big guy. That song plays. If you saw my trailer reaction, I was not that wowed by the song, but whatever. It worked in the movie. But yeah, setup is SpongeBob, he wants to be a big guy now, and the big thing he's going after is he's tall enough now to ride the roller coaster. They get to the roller coaster, Ice Spice has her cameo, and she had like 3 lines. I thought she did a good job. I'd be interested to see her dabble in voice acting more. I think there's some potential there. I liked her few lines more than I liked her song, quite frankly. Although the song's grown on me a little bit, I guess. I don't know. It's still nothing to write home about, but whatever. It worked for marketing. But yeah, SpongeBob goes and he doesn't ride the roller coaster because he's too scared. And he uses Mr. Krabs as an excuse. We go back to the Krusty Krab. The journey for SpongeBob throughout this movie is to conquer his fears. The Flying Dutchman takes advantage of that, and at the end of it, Mr. Krabs, who, when he first confronts Mr. Krabs is making fun of him for being a little bit of a wimp, but at the end of the movie, Mr. Krabs embraces SpongeBob for his bubble-blowing ways. I thought it was a sweet message, and I thought it was definitely enough to hold the movie together, but the real shining point of this movie was the comedy. I thought this movie was very wall-to-wall jokes, more so than some of the movies prior. The story, it was kind of lame. It was a little bit lame, I'll be honest. But the jokes, they were very good. Very, very, very funny movie. Not all of them landed, but they threw so much at you. It's like, what does land, it really lands. The main characters of this movie were SpongeBob, of course, and Mr. Krabs. He was very focal for this movie, which makes sense when you learn that this movie was originally developed as a Mr. Krabs movie. And I will say, I see that, and I think the movie might have been a little better if it was just a fully Mr. Krabs movie, because his stuff was interesting, but they could have done much more with it. So yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick, they get taken by the Flying Dutchman, and they go through all these different challenges in the underworld. There's some friction there. SpongeBob and Patrick, they're having so much fun, but the Flying Dutchman and Barb, the Flying Dutchman's new sidekick, they're getting very irritated by Patrick and how he is getting SpongeBob sidetracked, because SpongeBob, he is the key to freeing Flying Dutchman from his curse because he's so innocent. Patrick, he's not involved in that, but they had to bring Patrick along so SpongeBob doesn't make assumptions, you know. The SpongeBob and Patrick dynamic, it was lots of fun in this movie. Patrick definitely raised the tension for these scenes because SpongeBob, he's never going to cause the drama, really. I think my favorite scene of the movie was the montage of SpongeBob doing all these different challenges, and it eventually breaks the fourth wall, and we hear from Paramount executives and they're like, we need more star power in this movie, and Sandy Cheeks gets her one cameo of the movie. They were just really funny for that. Like, it was unhinged, hilarious. Mr. Krabs, he is on a side quest to save SpongeBob from the underworld. He recruits Squidward and Gary gets thrown in the mix. Okay. I wish we saw more with that. I think in an ideal world, I would have kept it as a Mr. Krabs movie and made that more of the A plot and the SpongeBob thing more of the B plot. But I think they could have at least fleshed that out a bit more. I think that would have been a plus for the movie. They eventually get to the underworld. The big climax is the Flying Dutchman. He finally becomes human again, and SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs, they become ghosts. But they have the chance to save themselves by breaking the pipe or whatever before the sun sets. They follow the Flying Dutchman, who gets a human form, into the human world, which these movies do this every time. They always gotta have their live action bits. It's really tired. It's very tired. And I'm also tired, while I'm throwing in what I'm tired about, why do all the SpongeBob movies have to be CGI 3D now. I would love a 2D movie. Like, it was a very, very pretty movie. It was. But I like 2D. The show works in 2D. Like, it's not criminal to think a movie would work in 2D. It did work. I digress. So back to what I was talking about. They get on the roller coaster in the human realm with the Flying Dutchman, and they have a whole scene in that. I felt it kind of dragged a bit, which I'll get into more when I talk about characters, but it was fine. It just wasn't the most exciting ending. They, of course, get the pipe broken and they're back to normal. Everybody's all happy. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs have their moment to be like, oh, we just love each other, blah, 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 blah. It was very sweet, very fun, good for their dynamic. Okay, so that's like a walkthrough of the movie. Now I'll talk about the characters. And of course, we have SpongeBob first, our main character. It was a good outing for him. It was interesting to see him confront how bubble blowing really is a childish thing and how he's like trying to grow up and be more mature. We've seen those types of struggles with him before, but this was a pretty big exploration of that. And I like that he realizes at the end, it's okay to be who he is. He's fantastic, and that's why the Flying Dutchman was trying to get him, because he's the innocent one. So it was fun. Not his most exciting outing ever, but classic SpongeBob. We appreciate it. Oh, aren't these cute, by the way? Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree got in a bunch of SpongeBob stuff, so go get you some. I'll talk about Patrick next. SpongeBob's sidekick. I think he had most of my favorite jokes in the movie. Like, I really thought him running around with the eye patch on his lower areas, hilarious. I felt really bad for him when SpongeBob threw him aside. Like, SpongeBob was manipulated into that, yeah. But like, come on, Patrick was having a good time. Like, is he a little stupid? Yeah. Is he a little distracting? Yeah. But this was one of Patrick's better outings and he didn't really do much wrong. He often does a lot wrong, but this time it was more innocent, fun hijinks. I definitely felt they channeled the Shanghai special a bit for the SpongeBob and Patrick hijinks, and that's like one of my favorite episodes, so I really appreciated that. We got to see Patrick really bounce off of Barb, the Flying Dutchman's sidekick, who I thought was a fantastic addition to this movie. They really hated each other at first, but then the Flying Dutchman throws Barb aside when he gets his human form, so Barb, she gives them the reveal about the pipe and everything. Okay, Barb, get your redemption. And by the end of the movie, she's pretty much running the ship, and Flying Dutchman, he's cleaning dishes. Very funny. I love seeing that frenemies dynamic with Patrick and Barb. I would love if Barb got introduced into the show. But yeah, I thought this was a great outing for Patrick. Probably his strongest movie role since the first movie. Now on to Mr. Krabs. Again, you can really tell that this was like supposed to be his movie. I feel like they could have done more justice for him. Particularly, I would have liked more comedy from Mr. Krabs, because I think he can be one of the funniest characters when they really utilize it. Like, he had some bits in the movie, but it was really more of an emotional story for him and his dynamic with SpongeBob. We got a bit of his backstory being a sailor, and it was revealed that he wasn't actually a strong sailor like he was trying to sell at the start of the movie. He was cleaning dishes, and I liked the parallel of that's how the Flying Dutchman ended. So yeah, Mr. Krabs, he puts on this tough guy act, but he's really got a soft inside. So he was able to relate more to SpongeBob, and he was blowing bubbles with SpongeBob by the end, which was very sweet. It was a fantastic movie for the Mr. Krabs SpongeBob dynamic, which can be a pretty rocky dynamic, but I think this movie really did a lot for it. Though, I can't lie, it would have been hilarious if after all this work of Mr. Krabs getting down to the underworld to save SpongeBob, if the Flying Dutchman was like, I'll give you $1 to go away, and Mr. Krabs just went away. It would have been absolutely hilarious. I would have loved it. It would have been totally in character, but that's not what they wanted to do in this movie. They wanted to really sell the sort of father-son dynamic that Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob have. it was really nice to see Mr. Krabs highlighted like this. And it makes him a more redeemable character, which I don't necessarily need from him. I appreciate it, okay? You care about SpongeBob now. Good for you. I guess I'll touch on Squidward too. Again, Squidward has nothing to really do in a movie. He tagged along with Mr. Krabs, but he wasn't good for anything. He even got a joke at the end about how they left him in the underworld, which was funny. It was a very funny way to end the movie, but come on. Let's get justice for Squidward and get him in a movie, finally. Jeez. Now to the topic I've kind of been dreading talking about, the Flying Dutchman, our big antagonist of this movie. The voice did not win me over. It was not a bad performance. When is Mark Hamill ever gonna give a bad performance? But you can't outdo the doer. We have an OG Flying Dutchman voice that is fantastic as always, that we could have easily utilized here. I just don't think Mark Hamill brought anything special to this role. I don't think he plussed it in any way, really. I felt it was very generic. I almost wish they just used a generic pirate ghost instead of the Flying Dutchman. It would have changed nothing, really. I don't think we had the core of the Flying Dutchman, really, besides just the name draw. It was a little disrespectful to the character of the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, it wasn't a bad performance. I just don't think it was anything to write home about, and nobody's gonna be talking about this movie years from now going, oh, wasn't Mark Hamill as the Flying Dutchman just the best? I hope they bring him into the show too. No, I want my regular Flying Dutchman voice back in the show. Thank you. I guess that's about all I have to say on the movie. I had a good time. Is it my favorite SpongeBob movie? No. It's somewhere in the middle. Maybe I'll do a movie ranking. I can't say off the top of my head right now how I'd rank them, so stay tuned. But I definitely do recommend seeing this movie, whether you make it out to theaters or you wait until it gets on digital. It was a good time. So until next time, bye!